Hi friends, today we are going to make a delicious dessert that is perfect for the holidays. This is perfect for Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and it's one I've been waiting and wanting to make. It is a gingerbread, orange, and cranberry trifle. You don't want to miss this today. So friends, with this trifle, we are going to start with getting our dry ingredients done, and I try to get as prepared as possible, trying to get my videos a little bit shorter. It's like a challenge. I guess it's just, a work in progress. You just got to do it, figure it out. But let me go ahead. I've got my oven preheated at 350. Let me go ahead and get my pan. I think this is like a 9 by 13. It might be actually a little bit bigger. I greased that, put some parchment paper, and we greased and floured that. So that's ready to go. And this is going to be a gluten-free, because you all know if you've been watching. Ooh, my counter was wet, and I got my ingredient list here. I don't want to get that wet. My grandkids a couple of them have celiac, so I'm expanding my gluten-free recipe. So I want them to enjoy the goodies too. So I'm going to try this out and see how it works. Did a lot of research to see different recipes, and I've done some gluten-free cakes before, so hopefully ingesting this, it works out okay. So we're starting out with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. This is gluten-free. I use the Bob's Red Mill, the 1-for-1. I have great results with that. So now, also I am making a more of a cake flour, and I found this trick of making a cake flour, and it works out great. So basically, for every cup of all-purpose flour, you're going to subtract 2 tablespoons for 1 cup. In replacement of that, you'll add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So we have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and we are going to, I already set aside some cornstarch for that. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to sift these all together to make this kind of nice and light and fluffy. And there's my flour. Hopefully you can see okay. Yeah, you can. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and how much baking soda? I got a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Let's just put that in there. And then we've got baking powder. We've got 2 whole teaspoons of baking powder. And then we've got our cornstarch to kind of make our cake flour. And we could put our seasonings in there right now too. So we've got 2, let me get a close-up of that. We've got 2 teaspoons of ground ginger. Oh, no. 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon, no, a 1/2 teaspoon of, let me back up, a 1/2 teaspoon of cloves. Or did I do it there? Yeah, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I had to think about it for a minute. And we've got some ground ginger, and I'm already got myself confused. Oh, we have about 2 1/4 teaspoons of ground ginger. This is going to be a little bit more on the spicy side, not overly, but I like to really taste those flavors. So let's go ahead and sift this. I like this contraption for sifting, this little strainer. It works so easy. Pretty quick. Now I could do this a second time. I had one, if you caught my funfetti cake, I think I sifted it like 5 times. And there's some of the salt and stuff because I used the kosher salt. So, and which should be probably a little bit different of adjustment if you're using like table salt or the different sea salts are a little bit different. The crystal is different than I think the Morton. Let me get another bowl. Ooh, careful. Because I'm going to sift this one more time. I'm not going to do it 5 times because we've got a lot of cooking to do today. So we've got to make like a pastry cream, Italian cream. That's going to be orange flavored. And that takes a good 20 minutes to cook. So this cake should take less than a half an hour to cook. And I haven't made gingerbread in so long. I had to really do a lot of research because I'm like, and I know I probably have an old fashioned recipe file. You know those recipe boxes where we used to have all our recipes on little index cards? Give me a shout out if you still use those. I do have some, and I actually, to tell you the truth, I just was thinking, oh darn, I know I had a gingerbread recipe in there. I could have just looked in there, but no, I had to search online. But you know what? It didn't hurt to search online because there's a variety of recipes, and you might get some really good ideas. And there are some great modern ideas on doing things. So we've got that nice and sifted. I'm not going to sift it again. We'll put it all in here though. Let's see. Just want to make sure I get all my ingredients there. So let's get a spatula. Because making cakes is a little bit scientific. Here. Oh, put this on the table. You can't see. But I'm going to take this little bit here. Put that in here. So, all right. So we've got all our dry ingredients. Do I have all my dry? Oh, well, except for my sugar, but that needs to go in my wet mixture. So let's start that. I'll set this aside. I'm a little bit of a fuss budget. I don't know if you are. I have to clean as I go. I don't like a mess. I just feel like it's more enjoyable if I clean as I go. I know you probably could just clean all at once, but anyway. Okay, so now we're gonna do the wet ingredients. Let me get a bigger bowl for that. All right, and we're gonna take our sugar too. We've got some melted butter that I've already melted. And I have about a 1/4 cup of melted unsalted butter and a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. It's just like a tad under. I might have to add a little bit to that. I didn't realize that I had it a tad under. Sometimes if you don't have, it's like depending on when it's like barely. I probably need like 1 tablespoon. Let's see. And a lot of people that make this recipe still use like vegetable oil or canola oil. I don't want to go too overboard. But that was still slightly warm. So that's melting right there. That's good. And I'll put it back in the microwave because you don't want your butter, and when you're melting it, you don't want it too warm because you're going to be adding eggs. And you don't want to scramble and curdle your eggs. But this is really closer to room temperature. All right, so let's start with our butter. Let's get that poured in the bowl, and our oil. I try to use healthier oils. It helps with the inflammation, not having all those vegetable oils and canola oils. I feel much better when I eat that on a diet like that. So let's see. And we need our eggs. We'll just put our vanilla in. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. One. Two. Get a little spatula. That's probably a little bit too big still even to get all that goodness out. All right. And then we are going to put our butter in there. We've got 1 cup. I think this is light. Yeah, this is light brown sugar. 1 cup packed. Some recipes call for granulated. I'm going with the brown sugar. And then let's give that a stir, and then we're going to mix in the eggs. Just, you want this, just getting the major lumps out and it's all incorporated together. Because sometimes that brown sugar can lump up in big balls. You don't want a big lump of that. You could use your stand mixer. We could use our whisk actually, probably be a little bit better, right? Like I got a multitude of whisks. It's like pick your choice. Pick your choice. You know what? This little one I seem to like the most. This covers more territory, and this one is great for eggs. Now let's use the bigger one today. The thing is, you don't want to mix, once you start to incorporate your flour, you don't want to over mix that, because that makes your cake kind of tough and dry. I don't know so much dry, but definitely it won't rise as nice. And so we're just getting that mixed in good, getting that sugar dissolved. And we'll add our eggs. We're going to use 2 eggs. They're about room temperature. Let's do 1 at a time. Just incorporate that. It's looking good already. I see a few lumps of the sugar, so that tells me I've got to keep beating it. And let's put our other egg in there. Mix, 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 mix. And then we're going to put 1 cup of molasses in here. And I do have a few lumps of those brown sugar, so I'm going to whip a little bit and get that molasses ready. All right, now we are going to add our molasses. I beat that a good 2 minutes to get that nice and get most of the lumps. There's a tiny little few specks. I'm not going to be concerned about that. I think that will melt in there. And then one way to make your molasses not stick to your cup is you can grease it, and that helps that molasses flow out of there a little bit easier. We're going to use 1 whole cup, and I'm using unsulfurated. I think that's how you call it. Unsulfurated. Unsulfured. Not unsulfurated. Unsulfured. And with a whole cup, this should be very dark and nice and rich. And there's your 4. And of course, the fresher ingredients, the better. So you might not want to use your molasses from last year. All right. Well, you know what? Let's stick this in here. Put this on my little plate. I got a little side plate for all my messy stuff. Let's get that molasses nice and incorporated. Let's see if I can get a little closer. There we go. That's probably better. And then we're going to put some hot water in here, but I just want this really nicely incorporated. I'm giving it a good whisk. And then we're going to use hot water. It's almost to the point of boiling. I'll use my electric teapot for that. And let's start out with a 1/2 cup. Kind of slowly add that in there. My recipe calls for about 3/4 a cup, but I did add a little bit extra molasses than most recipes take. So there's 1/4. And there's a 1/2 cup. And this helps melt the sugar there. So remember those tiny little lumps I said I had? That melts it right away. And I'm going to probably put just a little bit more. I'm going to use like 1/8 cup. Yeah, that's about right. And now this is really wet and thin. Or of course it's wet. It's all wet. It's really wet. These wet ingredients are really wet. It wasn't that wet before. All right, so we're going to mix and add the dry to here, and we'll put it in the oven. So let's get that bowl and put my whisk aside. And let's put that in there. It smells really good now that I added this. Between the molasses and all those yummy fall spices. Yummo. I'll tell you, I was thinking last Thanksgiving, I'm like, I am going to make a gingerbread orange trifle. And it took me a whole year but I want to share my good recipes with you. And last year we had some, I'm trying to remember, I can't remember all the desserts we had last year. But I kind of keep it somewhat themed. So, I mean, of course, we always have the classic. And you don't want to stir this too long. But you do want to get some of the major lumps. You don't want pockets of flour in there. So you want it incorporated. But we always have the classics. Apple pie, pecan pie. We don't have pecan every year, but we definitely had pumpkin and probably apple. Those are the staples. Let me know in the comments what's your got to have a dessert for Thanksgiving. Well, it looks good. It smells good. Let's pour this into our cake pan. Now, metal pans, they cool down quicker than the glass, and probably optimal to like make this more of a denser cake. Put it more in a square pan. Whew, this is going to be heavy. But did you notice I got a bigger bowl? little victories. I was like to have these glass see-through bowls because you can see better what I'm doing. This is heavy though. I've been seeing all these cute things already on Facebook and YouTube for people's holiday decorating for like with food, and I saw a lot of cute gingerbread ideas that somebody had their hutch all filled with like coffee cups of gingerbreads and bowls. Oh my gosh, it was so super cute. I'm like, I already have kind of my, well, I do have my theme picked out this year. And I'm like, well, those gingerbreads are so cute. Maybe I'll do that next year. And you know, you don't have to have a theme. I just like to do it for the fun of it. Kind of set the tone, set the mode. Are you feeling kind of playful in your decorating, or do you like it really elegant? Do you like it rustic? That's something to think about too when you're setting your Thanksgiving table. How do you want to set your table? All right, so give it a few taps, get some air bubbles out. It smells good. Let's get it in the oven, 350. Set the timer for 25, and we'll keep our eye on it. I'm going to clean up, and then we're going to make our cream for the filling. Yummo! Our cake is cooled down. We've got it on a cooling rack. It's out of the oven, cooled down. And you want that completely cool before you put together just trifle. But right now we're going to go ahead and make the orange cream custard and the cranberry orange filling for our trifle. And those will cook up, but they have to cool down too before you layer the trifle. Now I want to first go ahead and start get my cranberry orange sauce going, because that will be good and hot. It'll be piping hot, and we want it to cool down pretty quick. And so I used about 5 cups of cranberries, and that should cook down a bit. Probably could have used a little bit of a bigger pot. We'll see if I can get away with that. And then we're going to use 2 teaspoons of orange zest. And I've kind of already started zesting that up. We should have 2 teaspoons here. And, well, barely. I might have to put a little bit more in there. I've got 1 navel orange here. I've got like 3/4 of it. I think that'll be good because we need some orange zest also for our cream. We're going to go ahead and put, you know what? I know once I add the sugar that I'm going to need a bigger pot because I need to stir that. Let's go ahead and convert. No worries. All right, so we're going to use about a cup of water and a cup of, let's see, where's my other measuring cups? Oh, here they are. Sorry for the headshot there. So I took the juice of that. I had 1 other navel orange, and we've got just a little bit over a 1/4 cup. So we'll put 3 of these. Three-quarter cups. All right, so we got that in there, and then we're going to use 1 cup of fine sugar, granulated sugar. Let me go ahead and get that. Oh, it's right here. It's kind of similar. I think they consider that like caster sugar. I'm not 100%, but this is ultra fine, and that dissolves nice in there. And we're going to need let's use about, you can use 3/4 to a cup. I'm going to use about 3/4 a cup. I like to try to cut the sugar from my recipes if I can. Sometimes you can get away with that. And we're going to give that a good stir. We got that on high right now. Once they start to bubble and we start hearing them popping, we'll go down to medium. We'll let this cook down a little bit. It smells good already. So let's get that going. We got that going. Next, we're going to go ahead and make our custard for the trifle. So this custard I have been making for, I kid you not, over 40 years. It's an old family recipe, not of my family, but a friend of mine. They're Italian, and this was their recipe. And I've been making it for a long time. So we've got 1 cup of sugar, and we're using that extra fine sugar. You need 4 cups of milk, a quart of milk, 1 cup of flour, and 5 egg yolks. And we're gonna, I started separating those. Let's go ahead and finish that. You just want the egg yolks. And at the end, after we get this creamed up and this custard set up, we'll add a little bit of vanilla extract and a little orange extract. And we will add a little bit of orange zest to that also during the process. Yeah, my recipe card has seen better days because I've been through many a holiday. This cute little gadget, I got this at a Tupperware party. Oh my gosh, decades ago. I love it. It works perfect. I don't know if you can still get those or not, but I like mine. My garbage bowl sit over there. And I'll put a lid on these egg whites. Can make meringues or add it to an omelet or something. I'll set that aside for now. Oops. Wash my hands, a little sticky. Now this cream, you can, if you just make it vanilla, you can use it for a lot of things like cream puffs and different pastries you're making. Then I got this on high. I'm gonna let it do its thing for a few minutes, and then we'll go ahead and turn that down to medium in a few moments. All right, so I've got the pan on, probably need it like medium high. We'll start it out. And I'm always playing with it and adjusting it. I'm gonna make this in my Dutch oven, which I usually use as more of a saucepan, a little bit bigger than that. So that's the only difference this time. You can hear the cranberries popping. And we're going to start with our egg yolks and our sugar. And I'm going to use my whisk in that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a 1 cup of sugar. Let's get that whisked up. This is one of those recipes you really can't leave the stove area. See how this works in this. You know what? I think I already need to turn down my heat. So I'm not used to making it in this pan, and I hope. But this pan is a little more shallow, so I didn't want. I wanted you to be able to see in it a little bit better. And I'm getting that nice and good and creamed. The sugar kind of like melting into the egg yolks a little bit. And those cranberries are bursting away, so we can turn that down to medium low. It probably needs to cook down for about 10 minutes. You want that liquid to reduce down. Oh, you know what? That's medium low. All right. With this custard, you're looking to close to 20 to 30 minutes probably of stirring or watching it. And then once your sugar pretty much is melted and dissolved in there, and I'll get a close-up. There we go. You can kind of see that sugar's pretty much dissolved. And I'll cut off my face. You don't need to see that in here. And then we're going to go ahead and lightly add that flour. Let's see. And just like incorporate it. So we have 1 cup. This is gluten-free. All-purpose flour. And you're just going to keep stirring it in. Now it is thick in the beginning, but we are going to be adding milk to this. And you can add the flour and the milk gradually. And we'll put a little more flour before we start adding the milk. The cranberries smell good. All right, we can start to add a little bit of that milk. I'm just going to add a little at a time. And I won't make you sit and watch this the whole time. So I just want you to get the gist of how I'll get everything a little bit incorporated. And we'll come back to shots. And it works good right now to be using your whisk. Want it nice and creamy. It's really like a pudding almost, but it's a little bit thinner than a pudding. But it'll be great for this trifle. And sometimes when you're adding the cream in, you're like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to thicken up? This is definitely the smells of the holidays. I'll probably put like 1 cup of milk in there. And let's use the rest of the flour in there. Now I'm going to slowly incorporate this milk. Just whisking the whole time. And you're pretty much stirring this constantly to a boil. I'll leave it alone for 30 seconds sometimes at a time, but and sometimes when you're pouring up this much milk, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be thin. It's not going to thicken up. It will. I have this on medium low right now. I might just turn it up a little bit. Turn it up 1 little notch. I'm going to set my timer on for 15. I know it'll probably take more than 15 minutes, but kind of want to judge and gauge where I'm at. All right, so here we are. This is what it looks like right now. And we're going to keep stirring, and we're going to keep an eye on that. I said I'd give it a little break there, maybe 10, 30 seconds. But we can stir our cranberries. Oh my gosh, the smells. Yummo. I want that to reduce down a little bit. Probably have like less than 5 minutes on that. And if you want more of your cranberries whole, you kind of like stop pretty soon. You don't want them totally mush. All right, let's come back after this is, see, just me leaving it like that, I can feel the thickness. So you definitely don't want to forget about stirring this. You need to stir it constantly to often. We are about 6 or 7 minutes into this, and it is starting to thicken up a little bit, but it's still very thin compared to what we need it. I'm going to put some of our orange zest in there now, though. And I've got this big navel orange I'm going to use. I've got this last quarter, and I'm going to zest that up and put that in there. Give it a pretty little light color. I might put a little more. I haven't decided. I'm gonna get another orange. So you know what we gotta do? Stir, baby, stir. Can you see that consistency? Probably like if I get a spoon. Let's see. Oh, I already put my other spoon away. Let's use this. See how that is? So that's not quite ready. My timer says about 8 minutes till our 15-minute mark is up. So we're getting close. And here's those cranberries. Got a few whole ones in there. And I turn the heat off, and I can take that off the heat now. It's pretty much the gelled consistency we want for our trifle. So let's get that off the heat. Oh, this is thickening up nice. I'm gonna not have to go the whole amount. No, I reserved a little bit of the milk because I was like, oh, I think I had a little more than 4 cups. It might be all right to use it. This is thickening up nicely. So I've got less than 5 minutes to go, and what we want is a slight little boil, and this is really pretty much ready. So this is my first year making it in this Dutch oven, and it's working pretty quick. So usually my other pot, I'm like 20 minutes to a half an hour. So this is good. So this whole process is about 20 minutes, you know, from start to finish, because we're got 4 minutes left. And we're gonna take this off the heat. Let's see, did I do it? Yep, we got our little boil out of it. And we're gonna let that cool. Oh, that one's hot too, so let's put it over here. We got that off the heat. And right now, this is not gonna taste like much because we just have eggs, flour, sugar. We don't, the only flavoring we have is a little bit of that orange zest. We're going to let it cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we'll add our flavoring to there. These have been cooling down. Our Italian cream, our custard, has been cooling down for about 15 to 20 minutes, and the same thing with our cranberry sauce. So we're going to go ahead and add our flavoring to our custard. So we're going to take 1 teaspoon of orange extract, and actually I want to get a close-up because I want you to see something. I don't know if you can already see, there's a little bit of a skin on there, and way to prevent that is to put some plastic wrap on there. But we're going to do that in our pan because we did want to cool this down a little bit before we add our flavoring. So we got 1 teaspoon of orange and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is more like a vanilla paste. And this will slightly color the cream, no big deal. Because it's not going to change it that much. And we're going to give this a good whisk and get that really well incorporated. And with this stirring it, we're letting some of that heat out. All right, let's give our cranberries a little bit of a stir. See how that texture is. That's going to be nice and yummy for our trifle. And we'll test them both. Hopefully, I think it'll be sweet enough. So let's give those a little bit of a taste just to see where we're at. See if we need to add a little more seasoning or not to that. And let's try our custard first because that's going to be like a light, delicate, more delicate flavor. That's nice. I feel like it's lacking one thing. Maybe I needed a pinch of salt. I can't put my finger on that. Made me think about it. I might put a pat of butter. It is missing something. I don't think I forgot anything. I know I certainly did not, but it's missing something. I'll think of what it is. Let's go on to the cranberry. That's perfect. Nice and tart, a little sweet. I don't like it too sweet. It's right for me. It's a little more on the tart side. So you can put another 1/4 cup of sugar. We put 3/4. I like it that way. So if you like it a little, your dessert's a little less sweet, go with the 3/4. And I'm gonna figure something out. I gotta check something out with this because it's good, but I've made better. Okay, I did a little research. So I think, I don't know if it's the pan, because I usually use a stainless steel pan, and the flavors just a little differently. And what I think is, I think the flour didn't totally cook off. So next time, I'm just going to use my stainless steel. But I did read that you can put a little butter in there. Some people do, some people don't. I mostly, like I said, I've been making this for 4 years, so it's pretty consistent. I'm going to use a pat of butter, about a tablespoon. Probably should put this in right when it's coming off the heat, but it's still plenty warm and this is going to melt. And I'm going to add a tad more extract. I'll let that butter totally melt in there. And let's use a little more orange. Let's do like a 1/2 teaspoon. And another 1/2 teaspoon vanilla. And next time I'm just going to use my stainless steel. And that was unsalted butter, but hopefully that's good. All right, let's give it a little try. Let's see if I made it the way I like it. That definitely helped. Next time though, I'm making it in my stainless steel. That definitely helped. Okay, so that was good. So add a little pat of butter to that. And you can put the pat of butter on there right when you get it off the heat. Let's go ahead, and this is, you should completely let it cool down before you put it away. And let's go ahead and store our cranberries. We can get that in the fridge. And actually, you know what? That might be cooled down enough to put in the fridge, that Italian cream. Let me... I can't wait to assemble this. So we gotta let these cool down for a few hours. So it's getting late in the afternoon. And that's the beauty of getting ready for holidays. If you have some make-ahead dishes, you can make all this stuff the day before. Say you're not hosting Thanksgiving, you're just bringing the dessert. This is great. Wow, crowd pleaser. It's going to be so pretty, and you can garnish it and just make it your own. I think I have some candied oranges I might use for a garnish, and we're going to make a whipped cream, but we're not going to make that whipped cream until tomorrow because we'll assemble this tomorrow. I can hardly wait to eat it. Imagining, but I waited a whole year, so I guess I can wait this amount of time. So let's see. Let's see. I think this is cooled down enough. So let's go ahead and let's store these. I'll use 2 containers. Yeah, that tastes better. My daughter makes this recipe too. I passed it down. We make this delicious ricotta pie. We call it Easter pie. We make that for Easter. Thus called Easter pie. But we put this in with some ricotta cheese, and that pie is delicious. Let's set this aside. Oh, I see a little scorching on the bottom. So, yeah, but not bad. And it doesn't taste scorched at all, but there's a little browning. You don't want to get that in your... I'll show you that in a minute. You don't want to get that in your cream. Doesn't that look pretty? Let's see. How many dishes can I make? But I want to get all this yumminess. I'm going to leave any behind. And I'm going to be very careful. I don't know if you can see that in my hand. If you can see a little bit. We're going to go around the sides. We're not going to get any of that. Maybe. There. All right. Let's put a little rag. Like that. All right, and now we're going to put a little bit of plastic coating on there, put the lids on, and put that in the fridge. And you're just going to put that on top, and you're going to, you know what, you can't see, so let me adjust that camera. You're just going to place that right on top. That prevents the skin, and you won't have that filmy skin on the top, which will be very nice. Let's put the lid on, and then let's go to the other one. All right. We're putting it right onto the custard or the Italian cream. Now I don't know if custard and Italian cream, if they're really kind of the same thickness or texture. I think, they're pretty similar. I think Italian cream is more creamy than custard. Custard, I think, is a little more firm, kind of like flan. All right, so let's get those in the fridge. It is the next day and we're ready to assemble our trifle. Are you getting excited? I am. I've been thinking about this all year. So let's review things. We've made our Italian cream, our custard cream. We added a little scent of orange to that. That's in the fridge. That's been in the fridge overnight. We made our cranberry orange filling for it. We've made the gingerbread, and because we're cutting this up in cubes, I chose that longer pan. I don't know if it was a 9 by 13 or 11 by 13. And that's going to give you a very thin cake. If you just wanted to serve the gingerbread, you might want to put it in a square cake pan. But this is going to be perfect for what we're making because we're making a lot of cubes. So before we assemble it, we also have to make our whipped cream, and we're going to have that lightly flavored with some orange to kind of combine that. Also, you saw that this morning I made orange simple syrup, and we'll use that on our cubes. But let's go ahead. Let's start cutting this up, and you can see there's a little corner missing. I had a little taste test last night. I couldn't resist. I couldn't wait. So let's just go ahead and start cutting that up. I don't need my glasses. All right, let's come on in a little closer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do about 1/2 inch width. I'm definitely gonna play around with this recipe. Like, I haven't made gingerbread in years, and of course this is gluten free, and it's I love the spiciness of it. I gotta take a test. I should. Mm. Mm. I like it even better this morning than I did last night. I thought it could be a little lighter as far as the density of it. But it is so flavorful. All right. My knife was getting a little gunked up. Let's just use the side of the bowl for that. And put that on the side. Probably could wet the knife and that would. I would say these are probably 1/2 inch cubes. And I'm going to put these in just a regular bowl for now. And I have a pretty trifle bowl that we'll use for the. Gosh, it's hard not to keep eating this once I tried it. So, you can see the little cubes. They're not all 100%. Like that one's kind of a lot bigger. Let me cut that in half. And this recipe is enough for one trifle, which will serve many people because think about it, the holiday, your dessert is not going to be the only one, and maybe you were asked, maybe you're not the host, and maybe you've been just asked to bring a dessert, bring a couple side dishes. This is great. Now see, this end is a little bigger. I'm going to cut that. This smells so good. And then we're going to put that orange simple syrup. We're not going to do that yet. Oops. So you get the drift. I'm going to go on and cut the other half up. So let's get this cut up and we'll go on to our next step. So let's go ahead and make our whipped cream for our trifle. And I had this in the fridge for about 20 minutes getting chilled. That helps just to set your whipped cream a little bit better. So I even put the little attachment in there. Let's get that locked in here. And you can use store-bought whipped cream, but this is such an elegant dessert that I feel like, you definitely want to use the best quality ingredients. So it doesn't take much time at all. And you went through all this effort to make all this wonderful. So I recommend making it yourself. You're going to see it just takes, what, 4 ingredients? So we're going to need about 2 cups of whipping cream, or heavy whipping cream. And we're going to start this on medium low. And we want to get some air in there, so I'm going to turn it up. And we've got about a 1/4 cup of sugar, not quite. And I'm just going to slowly incorporate that in there. You want to stay by this. It doesn't take long at all. You don't want to over whip it. I mean, we can put it on high right now because you don't want butter, but you want nice soft peaks. I'm going to go ahead and put my extract flavors. So we've got a little bit of orange. I'll use 1 teaspoon of orange and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're getting close. Let's take a look. You see that forming a peak on the tip of that? So we're really close to what we want. Now I did zest up another orange, and we'll put some of those, some of that zest in there. I'm going to put like 1 teaspoon of the zest in there. I feel like we need more, I'll put it. Smells wonderful. Ooh. They didn't like me switching gears so fast. But you can see the difference in that now. I like a sturdy whipped cream. That's the thing about when you use I'll use the canned real whipped cream, All right, that's good because you go much further and we'll be having butter. We don't want butter. We want whipped cream, so that's good to go. We are ready to assemble our trifle. Take my glasses off. Don't need them right now. And we've got a little station going on. We've got our cranberry filling. Look at that. Yum. And we've got our Italian cream. Here's one batch, and we're removing the plastic wrap on the top. I'm just squeezing off a little excess that got on there, so we don't want to waste that. Ooh, put that on there. And we've got our whipped cream, we've got our simple syrup, our orange simple syrup. I'm going to wash my hands. I took a little taste off my fingers. That looked good. So I was really worried about that Italian cream last night, but it tastes great. I just needed that extra. So let's get some spoons going. And so we're going to start out. And first of all, you want to get a pretty bowl. You definitely want a clear bowl because that's part of the specialness of trifles. You get to see those layers that just invite your guest in and says like, oh, I want to try you. If you don't have a trifle bowl, you can use a clear bowl like this, and that will work fine also. I've had this for years and I love it. So we're going to start out with some of our gingerbread. And we're going to use about half of our gingerbread here. Just layering it. Can you see okay? Yep. And just use our hands on this. It smells wonderful. Now we're going to assemble this. When you're making trifle, you want to make it ahead because you want this to at least sit for 2 to 3 hours before you serve. And you can make it the day ahead or you can make it the morning of. That's about half, wouldn't you say? All right, so now we are going to take some of our Italian cream. Looks like, you know what? I think I need a ladle for this. Because this is very creamy. And then remember, we have a whole nother container, and I probably will use both for it. Oh, Doreen, this is where you got to put your simple syrup. Thankfully, I didn't get too far into it. Thing about a simple syrup, if you remember, it thickens up a little bit as you cool. So when you're done making it and you're like, oh, this seems so thick, it does thicken up a little as it cools down. Well, let's go ahead and do that now. Probably going to put like 4 serving spoonfuls on that. Let's do 5. There we go. How could I forget? I'm talking. All right. You know what? Put this on a plate. I'm going to just dump this whole batch in here because we split it in half. And make sure you get some along the edges because that looks so pretty in the bowl. Definitely need a spatula for that. Let me know if you think you would try this dessert. And you can clean up later a little bit with some splashes. But you basically want it to, sometimes you might just have to move these around a little bit. And I think it'll look a little different each time you make it. As far as like, you know, maybe the consistency of your cream is a little thicker, a little, you know, there won't be a huge variation. All right. And we'll clean up those splatters. Now next, we are going to put some of our cranberry orange. Put a few dollops. around the edges. And one thing I forgot to do for my garnish, I forgot to reserve a few, because you definitely, it's nice if you put, you know, what the filling is, put that, use that as a little bit of your garnish. So I have some dried oranges, and it would have been nice to have some of the cranberries in top. I'm trying to pick out some whole ones, see if I can salvage that. But and just smooth that out, smooth it over. I saw a few whole ones. There we go. Looking pretty already. All right, so now we're going to put some of our whipped cream. We're going to put about half of our whipped cream. I like the top to have a lot, so this is going to fill right up. And we might not use all that gingerbread because that is a lot. Just smooth that to the edges. See how fast this part is the quick and easy part, but it's so well worth the labor. So now we're going to put some more of our gingerbread on here. Let's see. This is going to be overflowing. But the cake is the bulkier part. Try to make it's evenly dispersed because you like to see those along the edges. There we go. We got a few extra little pieces. Oh, shame. Wonder who will eat those. There's not too many. Just got a few pieces left. All right. This time we're not going to forget our orange simple syrup. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, let's get the other cream out. I'm gonna wash my hands because they're sticky. I don't want to drop that glass bowl of Italian cream. Isn't that looking pretty? We'll get. Remember, we put this on here so we wouldn't have a skin on that, on the Italian cream. Ah. Squeezing off that from the plastic wrap. There's a good tablespoon and a half. All right. So next is our Italian cream. I'll try to get some on the edges without not getting it down the side of the outside part of my. You can give it a little twirl around just to see if it went down in the little crevices. Well, there's not much left for me for tasting. Oh well. All right. Now you could assemble it this far. Oh, I forgot I didn't save those side cranberries. Oh well. Guess I should forget that, right? If I remember a few here. I got a little heavy on the other one side, so let's smooth that out. And I definitely didn't do half and half because this one is a lot less, so just pay attention to that. I'm going to save these few for the garnish. And then to smooth that out. Let's see, it's overflowing a little bit. I think if I was in a pinch with something like that, I might melt down some whole cranberry sauce if I wanted to be a perfectionist about it. Because I like it to look pretty. But it's still, we've got the flavors there, and you can definitely see that in the middle. And all right, and so you can let this sit. You're definitely will let this sit 2 to 3 hours before serving. We could go ahead and put that on here right now, but you want to wait until that sets and then go ahead and put that topping so you can store that. So we'll put this in the fridge. I'm gonna wrap it up, clean it up. Let's get some wet paper towels, clean it up, wrap it up, put it in the fridge, and then we'll add our topping and do a taste test. Oh my goodness, this is so yummy. I can hardly wait. So I reserved a few cranberries. We'll see how the garnish looks on top. Take a little powdered, or not powdered sugar, some granulated sugar and make them look like they're iced. We'll see if we can pull that off. And let's get some plastic wrap. Making everything the day before sure helps. If really, you would be probably rushed if you tried to do this all in one day. So do the one steps because you'd have to start early in the morning, let it set for a couple hours. So look how pretty that looks. Let's get it in the fridge. Friends, it is the next day, so this can chill. You should have it chill 3 to 6 hours. We let it go overnight because I found out my daughter and grandkids are coming, and I'm like, you know what, let's break into that for them. So, but you really, now that we've made the Italian cream, it only can go a couple more days. So I put it on the edge there, but I'm gonna send some home with them. That's a lot of dessert. Maybe I'll give some to my neighbor. So we're just taking our whipped cream that we made and piling that on the top. And I need to break into our other container. Let's actually start to, I want a nice, good coating of that. I hope you will like this recipe. I just feel like it screams the holidays. Definitely Thanksgiving and Christmas. This is perfect for Christmas too. That's why I made this one. Well, plus I've been thinking about it all year. Just and I was like, you know what? I wanna. No, we used almost all of it. Probably could just go ahead and there we go. Now, in the best case scenario, I would have remembered to save some of my cranberries. So it's good to garnish it with some of the things that you know are in it. It kind of gives that people a sneak peek, and they should have really a sneak peek when they take a look at that. Doesn't that look pretty? I can't wait to try it. So I'm going to take just a little bit of my orange zest and put just a tiny bit on here. And I have some dried orange slices. I don't need to overdo it. Probably putting like a half a teaspoon of orange zest here. And I think I'm going to put these in the middle. Do I want to put them up? Maybe I'll just put a couple. So friends, let's dig into this a little bit before our guests come. I'm just going to give a little taste test. And I should have put this in a different dish so you can see all the goodness in there. It's just got all the layers of the Italian cream, the cranberry sauce. It's like, do I use a spoon or a fork? Let's use a spoon. All right, let's see if this was worth its weight. Yes, this was worth it. Was worth it. I have been thinking of this since last year. And it's come together so nice. The spiciness of the gingerbread, you know, that strong ginger flavor. Perfect. With the tanginess of the cranberry sauce. Homemade. This is all, you know what's in here. Beside that, this is a fabulous gluten-free dessert because we made our Italian cream with gluten-free flour. We made our gingerbread cake, gluten-free flour. Your guests are going to sing your praises with this. They love gingerbread. Okay, I got to stop eating it. Save room for my dinner tonight. Anyway, friends, I hope you give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you like it. I like to have some feedback. If this was dessert, if you tried this dessert, if you think you're going to try it, if you like gingerbread, go ahead and leave me comments. And don't forget to subscribe. You'll get all my videos. And right now we're just doing a long stint of Thanksgiving videos. So we've got a lot of great videos out there. We've got a sage brown buttered mashed potato. We have a dressing made with caramelized onions, mushrooms, and wild rice. That's so savory and yummy. We have a roasted savory sweet potatoes with a honey orange glaze. I'm trying to think what else. We've got some great appetizers. That video I don't think is out yet. That one's not out yet. So we've got much more coming. So go ahead, and if you haven't yet, um, go ahead and click the link in the comments to get your free ebook, 7 Steps to Hosting a Stress-Free Thanksgiving Dinner. I've been talking about that for a couple months. If you haven't heard me talk about it, well, I created this ebook to be your go-to guide to help you with prepping, planning, and decor from your turkey, and much more. Your go-to guide for helping you have a stress-free Thanksgiving dinner. So thanks for watching, and I hope you're coming up with some yummy creative meals to serve your family and friends, and just enjoy life. See you next time.